His vital organs haven't failed yet, so he won't die tonight. Those are the words I heard the doctor telling my parents about me exactly 1 year ago. Exactly 1 year ago, I experienced the worst day of my life. On the 26th day of February, 2019, I was paralyzed from the neck down. The only feeling I remember is excruciating pain. There are some events in life we can't control. We don't want them to happen, but they do. What we can control is how we respond to these events. You see, the changes we make aren't always into the world, but are made within our hearts and minds. Today, I will talk about coping with negative change. You see, the people who have overcome extraordinary obstacles in life, they have something in common. It's not talent, it's not skill, it's resilience. Resilience is the ability to adapt to life's obstacles. The Japanese saying, fall down 7 times, get up 8. That is resilience at work. And we can all be resilient. It's just a mindset switch. 1 year ago, I tried to get out of bed, and my legs gave out. I lay there motionless on the floor, and I couldn't breathe. I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, an autoimmune disorder rarer than being both blind and deaf at the same time. And there was nothing I could have done about it. I was purely unlucky. My immune system attacked my nerves, and my muscles shut down. The doctor told my parents, before I reached the hospital, my lungs could have failed, and I could have died. Once I was at the hospital, it could take 2 years before I could walk again. And although my condition might improve, I may never fully recover. I'll be honest with you. I heard that, and I got ready to give up. As an athlete, everything I had invested into my body, the thing I relied on most, had disappeared with nothing to show for it. I was broken. Eventually, the pain became too much to bear, and I needed an escape. But it didn't go anywhere. In fact, it got worse. So I decided to try all sorts of self-talk tricks and mindset exercises to become resilient. And I couldn't believe it at first, but 3 of them worked. They let me stay positive, they empowered me, and although the doctor said it may take 2 years before I could walk again and I may never fully recover, I took my first step on the 10th day, and I was out of the hospital in 3 weeks. So what is resilience? Developmental psychologist Amy Werner conducted a study on a group of kids who became extremely successful in life despite extremely harrowing childhoods. These kids were resilient. She called them vulnerable but invincible. She found that these kids did 3 things in common. Coincidentally, the same 3 things I did to help me through the hospital. So what are the 3 life-changing guidelines for resilience? 1. Refuse to let the pain of the present affect the hope of the future. 2. Allow ourselves to ask for help. And 3. Cherish the small victories. The first few nights, all I wanted to do was give up. Movements that I had every right to were suddenly denied. And with every denial of movement, I felt the light in which I saw myself dimming. In that moment, thinking of the future was a bottomless void of helplessness sucking me in. I was this close to giving up. But in my efforts to escape my pain, I realized I controlled something Guillain-Barré could never touch: my mind, my perspective, the way I looked at life. So I decided that my situation will not beat me down. I convinced myself that I was the strongest person alive and nothing stood in my way from getting better. And it worked. I suddenly got happier. And somehow, I started to improve. Even Werner found that resilient kids believed that their actions impacted their destiny no matter what. Whatever we go through, we must have relentless faith that our situation will improve, that we can and will endure. Sometimes when we go through adversity, we are alone. But to overcome adversity, we need the help of others. When I was fighting my sickness, the people around me, my family and friends, supported me when I couldn't fight anymore. I will never forget how my hospital room was always filled with the warmth of my people. So let's value those around us, because they become our strength when we falter. Resilient people are supported by others in tough times. They draw strength from this support. So there's no shame in asking for help. When we go through a tough time, don't be afraid to ask out help from others. A week into my time in the hospital, I had started to heal, somewhat earlier than was expected, as I found out later. So on that day, a nurse came into my room and wheeled me to rehab. There I was handed a grip tester, a device you squeeze to display your grip strength. And I squeezed it as hard as I could, and the needle didn't budge. I swore I would move that needle. So the next day, I got 5 kilograms. And each day after that, I was determined to get 5 kilograms more. Pretty soon, I could move my arms again. When we're going through a tough time, cherish the small victories, because added together, they represent bigger victories. Navy SEAL Admiral William McRaven says, if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. Why? Because making your bed is a small victory, like the 5 kilogram improvement was for me. So when the future seems bleak and we're about to lose hope, let's complete one task, be one step further than we were the day before. The future will seem just a bit brighter, and we will feel just a bit stronger. If I had given in to my situation last year, I could still be in the same hospital room right now with the same tubes hooked up to me with no feeling throughout my body. But instead, I get to be here talking to you because I learned how to be resilient. When we are confronted with adversity, we never know what opportunities are waiting for us beyond our situation, and resilience will give us the strength to break through. These 3 tasks, I am only here because of these 3 tasks. Future hope over present pain, ask others for help, and win the little victories. When you're going through a tough time, remember these 3 tips because they saved my life. And they just might save yours. Be resilient.